Hey everybody, what's going on? Steph and Martinez. Wait a minute. They're like, whoa, where the hell is Nick? No, he's running a little late. So we had my Tuesday partner fill in for my Thursday partner on a Thursday show, which really gonna start out like a Tuesday show. All right, anyway, I just said a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo that nobody will care about. But
Don't tune away because Nick's not here.
But we have a very important story that we want to start the show with today. And quite
Yes.
frankly, I think I expressed the emotions of both of the people on this live stream right now. When I say it's a sad day if you're a baseball fan. It's a sad day if you're a baseball fan. It's a sobering day if you're a baseball fan. And quite frankly,
Sobering.
it's a day that unfortunately all athletes must experience at one time or another, but you just wish that it didn't happen like this for this particular individual. And the individual that I'm speaking of is Albert Pujols, who reportedly asked for his release yesterday and was granted that release earlier today. The question then becomes what led to his release? And Rick, I had sent you a screenshot where, the Angels basically told him, hey, we don't have anything for you. We don't see a way where you can contribute to the club right now. And quite frankly, I get it from a production standpoint, hitting 198, OPS in like the 400s. I get it. But to tell that particular individual that there's no longer room for you on a club in which, quite frankly, I think we both agree is not making the playoffs, is not doing anything sustainable, and quite frankly, isn't should be embarrassed at the way they handle this.
I'm sorry. It's just it's the part where you have to make sure we iterate to a club that is definitely not making the playoffs. Because, like, seriously, like I know that we talked about the Angels making a hot streak, but let's be fair, they're not going to make the playoffs, right? We
No,
know this. Let the man retire the proper way. Like, what is the point? What's the point? Not only did they do this, they did it in the midst of the beginning of a season. They did this to a guy that is one of the best, if not the best, right-handed hitters in our generation. They did this to someone who's been on that team for about 10 years. They've done this to someone that they signed because they believed in him from all the work that he did in St. Louis.
mm-hmm.
This man is a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Albert Pujols, without question, you can argue this all you want, but without question, Albert Pujols is going to the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
That is
no
a
doubt,
fact.
no doubt,
Without question, no asterisk, nothing. He's
no.
going into the Hall of
Oh,
Fame.
yeah, no doubt.
Why would you not want to put that man in a proper position and talk about the storied career that he
Mm-hmm.
has?
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Who,
it.
by the way, and let me make this point too. He basically intimated at the beginning of the season, "Hey, this is it for me.
This is it.
I'm gonna retire now." He walked that back a little bit because everybody got a little bit crazy when his wife put up the Instagram post and Albert's calling it quits. But he's 40. His bat speed is slowed. He's a little bit big. You know what I mean? Like you don't
Yeah.
get better at 40. You get older and slower at 40. So we kind of saw this already coming. But my problem is, if you're gonna do this, right, have the common decency to tell the dude, "Hey, man, uh this is how we're going to go about doing it," and give him the option to say, "You know what, let's work out a way where it's not so public, where I don't have to make it a spectacle." Like if you knew you were going to release him, I'm sorry, You knew you had this idea from the moment the season started.
Yeah,
I believe
because
which is what led him, or led his wife, excuse me, to make the retirement post and to say Albert's done, because I think he saw this coming. But the reason that I'm upset is, if you're the Angels, how do you not handle this in more of a private manner with a guy that has been nothing but an upstart citizen, who's done everything the right way, who still continues to influence young players? There was a player on Twitter, there's a pitcher who was throwing for the Rays last night, who basically grew Ryan Yarborough. He grew
yeah,
up with Albert Pujols poster on his wall. Oh, I grew up idolizing you. For it to
exactly.
end like that
It's a
just
shame.
doesn't feel right to me. And something that I need to point out, and people get mad at me when I say this, and I've said it on this show, and I've said it on our show, 27 ounce, which you can catch Tuesdays at 6. Sports is a business. It is no longer about the fan aspect and what the fans need and what the fans enjoy. It's how long can this player and this person produce for me before he is no longer of use to me, no matter his significance in said sport, said culture, said environment. It doesn't matter, because Albert Pujols didn't produce for the Angels, so they kicked him to the curb like he didn't matter.
And on top of that, well, two things. Firstly, before we go on, for the people that are tuning in and they're just weirded out by me thinking Nick's not going to be on the show today, don't tune out. Nick will be here. Trust us.
Yeah.
This is a Nick and Steph show. This is not 27 ounce. But the reason why I'm starting the show, the reason why I'm here, is twofold. Obviously, Nick's running late, but also we're talking about Albert Pujols. We're talking about the fact that the Los Angeles Angels has decided to DFA, for the most part, Albert Pujols. They've released him. Actually, I don't think they even DFA'd him. They outrighted him.
Nah, yeah.
It is insane, and I wanted to expand on this. You know, beyond the scope of everything positive there is to say about Albert Pujols, beyond the scope of the mega superstar that he is, or and the Hall of Famer that he is,
Yeah.
beyond the scope of that, the
Mhm.
way that this was handled by the Angels organization is a wronging, straight up. This I don't understand how could you do that to him? Almost any other ball club would have had the respect to at least say, you know what, we're gonna play you out for the season. And you may not play every game. We're not really, we got another young guy. You may not play every game. You might be part timing it, but we're gonna play you out the season. We're gonna have you in some games. We're
Right.
gonna
No, no.
give you
But
a tour around baseball.
they basically told them we're drastically cutting your playing time. We're not even giving you an option to figure out, how do I get going? How do I figure out how to get going and finish off the season? They just told them, you're flat out, we're cutting your time. That's it. It's all
Yep.
like,
And and
what?
the and the and the and the tweet that Stephen had mentioned at the beginning of the show, he was talking about a source about Ryan Yarborough's start. You just mentioned Ryan Yarborough, idolized Albert Pujols growing up. Well, the front office apparently had made a decision not to
Yeah.
play Pujols against Yarborough, even though his track record against him is 6 for 9. He's on point
With three
against
home.
Yarborough with 3 home runs.
Yeah.
And they said, no, we're not going to play you tonight. That was
Wow.
last night. That's insane. That's insane. I don't even know. I don't know where to begin with that. I just know that that is a bad decision.
Yeah.
Uh, it is a very rash decision. The ball club's not making it to a playoff run. There's no need for this. Let him run his tour. It's his retirement tour, which leads me to another thing. We've seen
Hey.
David. We've seen
Hey.
Nick. Hey,
Yeah.
great. I get to get off the air soon. We've seen, is what it is. So we've seen David Ortiz. We've seen Derek Jeter, insert legend
Right.
here, that's gotten
Right.
to do the victory tour. That's gotten to do the yo, I'm a legend. Everybody's gonna praise me on the way out because
Right.
I'm respected. I haven't heard anything from the Angels about that, have you?
He doesn't. He. First of all, let me
He
be
doesn't
honest.
want one.
I don't think he wanted it. To
That's
be
what I
fair,
assume.
I don't think Albert wanted it. I think he wanted to treat this season like a regular season, but with a guy like that, you almost gotta like force it on him. Hey, Albert,
Yeah, it's one of
let's
those.
let's do
He
this the right way. Let's
well, I'll
send
be
you
fair.
off the way we think it's appropriate to send you off.
Right. I fair. Maybe he wanted the Beltray treatment because I know Beltray didn't do all that. He was just like
Right,
his last game was done. It was done.
right, right.
But not even that. Like not even the opportunity to just have that one last game. There's no
Right.
announcement. Like Beltray, we didn't have the announcement for Beltray. But we didn't know specifically that that was his last game. It just felt like his last game. We didn't
Yeah,
know.
you heard whispers
Yeah, of
weeks
course, you heard whispers, of
ago,
course.
like,
Just like we hear with Pujols. But the
right.
fact that you don't get that moment
Oh
on the
no.
field, Beltray at least got that moment.
And here's the
It's not
thing:
right.
if he hits 2 home runs off the guy, right? If he hits 2 home runs off of y'all, Burrow, the Angels win because of his 2 homers.
And he can take his cap and
Right.
we can be done. That's all they
Oh,
had to do if he wanted to go.
oh,
But the
yeah.
fact that you guys are saying, yeah, well, we're drastically cutting your play time, and no, this is not coming from the GM or the manager, it's coming from the front office.
Mhm.
The nerve, the
Mhm.
nerve, the
Right.
disrespect. You
Mhm.
know, show some class. You know, the Los Angeles Angels, man, show some class. Bet you if he was in a Dodgers uniform, we'd have had a whole different discussion about this.
Right.
Been positive.
Right.
Bet you if he was in a New York uniform, either side. Um,
It's a
well,
different discussion. Right.
yeah,
I
yeah.
listen. I
I
wonder
was
if
going to
he's
say
back.
maybe not the Will Ponce, but yeah, you
If
do.
he's
Yeah.
if he's back in St. Louis,
If he's back in St.
do they
Bro,
give him?
you know the party they would have had with Yachty?
Oh my lord!
I hope that
Yes.
doesn't happen.
No,
I,
no,
I,
he's
Give me
not.
nightmares of '06. I can't. Oh man,
He's.
it's a good time.
flashbacks.
I'll say this. As for where he ends up is a conversation for another day, preferably Tuesday.
Yeah, preferably Tuesday.
So we won't get into that here.
If
But
he ends up anywhere, that's a point. That's another point too. He might call it quits.
he might.
I hope he doesn't.
I got 3,000 plus hits. I hit 600 plus home runs. I got 2 world championships. I made a gajillion dollars.
Yeah, retire. You're good.
I'm
After
He
that,
is.
I'm happy, bro.
Because the thing about it is, and we'll bring it up. Let's just cut to it because we just mentioned, sports is the business. It is what it is.
right,
There is the other side of that coin. If Pujols, because he wasn't DFA, he was released outright.
right.
If Pujols signs a contract with another team, he's not getting the rest of that Angels money, no?
No, he's getting the rest of his money because he was released.
Okay.
They cut him, so they have to pay him.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, yeah, he might choose another team. He might.
You, he's gonna
got
go
places.
to the
We're gonna
Red
talk
Sox,
about it.
bro. He's gonna
You
go
never
to the
know.
Red Sox. He's gonna light it up for like a couple weeks, and then we're all gonna be wondering, not the Red Sox, the White Sox. He's gonna go there, he's gonna light it up, and people are gonna be wondering, damn, should the Angels have cut Albert? We're gonna be wondering that at some point. Because guys like that have long memories. You get them with Tony La Russa. We talked about the Angels, the White Sox injuries on Tuesday's show.
Mm-hmm.
They need a bat. They need a bat, and he definitely filled that void. So if he weren't
Definitely.
going anywhere, I'd say Oakland. I'd say the White Sox, and I'd say Tampa.
I just the thing is, I just don't see that man traveling hotel to hotel. Like you got to make like I can see it for the White Sox.
You can you can rent the condo for the. He got money. He's not broke. You can rent the condo. You're living in Florida or I mean,
Chicago.
Nice when it gets warm. It's not cold. I mean, it is now, but
I don't know. I just that's
my
tough decision to
God.
make. It's going to take a couple days, I'm sure.
Imagine that lineup when he gets back. If they get the 2 boys in the middle of that lineup back healthy, and you got Albert in the 6-hole DHing with oh Lord. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done. I can sit here and talk about this all day.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this more Tuesday, 27 ounce. Tuning into baseball.
Yes.
Check that out. But for now, I'm out of here. I don't know how to end myself here. You can do that for me, Stefan. See you guys.
And yourself.
Nick, I don't know how to turn my camera off.
Exit.
I just exit. How the?
Are you
Wait.
on your phone?
I'm
Just
I'm so serious. I'm on the phone.
close the tab.
Okay, got it. See you guys.
Later.
See ya. Oh!
Oh, hey now. What's up there?
What's up, my guy?
No.
Sorry for the delay.
All good. You're good. We might go a little bit longer today because Big Dog. I want to get into some stuff with Big Dog. Are the Islanders playing?
Yes, at 7-10 against New Jersey tonight.
All right, so I don't know about too long, but I'll say this because before you came on the show, we're gonna switch topics. We'll talk more about the Albert Pujols stuff on Tuesday with Rick, and we'll update the 27-ounce page and all that good stuff, so you guys can get your feel for that later. But I was on the Athletic just now before the show because I wanted to read more about the whole Rangers situation and what's going on with Tom Wilson and like everything. And I got to tell you, Jim Dolan, he reminds me of the spoiled rich kid that lives in Beverly Hills that got the 90 cars, that's parents are gajillionaires, who has no care in the world. He reminds me of the kid that when you tell him no, he throws a fit. He throws his hands in the air. No, I want this. Okay, so you're the hockey fan on this show, but let's get down to the brass tacks. And I want your opinion. I want everything. And listen, you hate the Rangers, so this was a day of jubilee for you.
Yes.
As a
hockey, honestly, I'm like, what are they thinking though?
As a hockey fan, I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad you started with that. How do you justify to your fan base 2 years after Davidson took over, Jeff Corton took over, you told the fan base, listen, we're going to get there. Just give us some time. We'll figure it out. We're trying to establish a culture. We're trying to reestablish ourselves as a franchise, younger players, free agent stars, destination, all this stuff. I get it. At the end of the second year of that rebuild, in a shortened season with COVID protocols,
that's the other thing
on. It wasn't a regular season by any stretch of the imagination. Alan, what's up, brother? Thank you for the like, man. Appreciate it.
What's
up? With all that being said, how in God's name do you justify firing not one, but both of your head front office members with a season like this, with an off season? Can I make the statement that this feels like one of the biggest off seasons in Rangers franchise history? Is that fair to me to say that? It feels big.
It's possible.
Big. It feels big from this standpoint. You brought in Fox, you brought in Jacob Tuba, you brought in Panarin, you brought in this one, you sign, you draft.
Yeah, you drafted Alexei Lafreniere, number one overall. You got Buchnevich. You got all these young dudes. You got two young, really good goalies, talented goalies.
You do all of that, knowing when you've already let the fan base know, listen, this is going to be a rebuild. Please bear with us. We understand the significance. We get it. Off the top. We understand what we're asking you to do. We're asking you to just wait for us. And then because you wake up in a bad mood one morning, you want to fire the general manager. And then, you know what? I give credit to John Davidson. If he goes, I go. And what does Dolan do? Typical Jim Dolan. Hey, you want to play that game? I'll fire you both. Who fails there, Jim? Who fails? You. because you still got to pay John Davidson, who I believe signed a 4-year deal, or 4 or 5 year deal, if I'm not correct. So
Yeah, he was going to be there a while, so
you still got to pay him. So who looks like they got egg on their face, Jim? You do. And I'm sorry. I'm still petrified. As a Knicks fan who watches this man run one of the teams inside Madison Square Garden, I'm like, what's going to set him off with the Knicks? What is going to make him go, this ain't working?
But it's crazy. The tides have turned where the Knicks look competent and the Rangers are a dumpster fire.
But how long can we say that for? Before you automatically know it's going to turn into Dolan's being Dolan again.
I mean, I leave that up to you because you're the Knicks fan. But I mean, what if they don't make the playoffs? And well, they're making it this year, but what if they don't make it next year and the year after? Like, no, I don't know where his mind's at.
I'll tell you this. If they don't sign a marquee free agent or trade for a marquee free agent this summer and they don't make the playoffs next year, he's firing both of those guys. We're back to square one if you're a Knicks fan. So pray and hope that the Knicks get it together, because you might be in the same situation again that the Rangers are in right now. I don't get it. I don't get it. And which leads me to the other night, which leads me to the Tom Wilson.
But yeah, I mean, as an Islander fan, I was like overjoyed. But as a hockey fan, I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, because John Davidson had success in Columbus in their front office. I mean, they didn't win a cup, but they've been a consistent playoff team. But they're definitely now, this is definitely a huge setback for the Rangers, no doubt about it. Yeah. Ranger fans thought maybe soon we'll be in the playoffs. Yeah, that ain't happening. No way. And who's out there? Like, I'm trying to think, and was thinking earlier too, like who's out there that they could bring in?
See, this is the thing. After seeing how it all eroded, who wants the job?
Right. To work with that owner in that market where there's
right. Now, the job may be appealing from this standpoint. The roster is already, the corner pieces are already somewhat set. So you don't have to do all the heavy lifting that John Davidson and Jeff Gordon did. But there's still a lot of work to do, because you have to see how do we finish off this roster? How do we go from a young ascending team to a playoff contending team? And I know for a lot of Ranger fans, a cup contending team. There's still a lot of work to do. And with an owner that is as fickle as Jim Dolan, that has to be a bit of a daunting task, considering the fact that the guy just he seems as though he's never satisfied, because he's not getting all the love. Like, and that's what it feels like to me. That's what it feels like to me. I'm gonna make a statement because I feel like I have to. I have to make the statement. I have to let people know that I'm Jim Dolan, so people know my name. They know my significance. They know how important I am. I'm going to put myself back into the spotlight again at the detriment of my franchise. I don't get it, big dog. I really don't. I don't get it. And let's speaking of the Rangers and the fiasco that was the Rangers Capital situation at the Garden the other night.
Fight night.
I gotta be honest. Tom Wilson gotta go. He gotta go. I'm talking lifetime banned. Hear me out on this. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm talking lifetime ban. I know Alan's a Cap fan. He may not disagree, because I heard some DC radio. He did nothing wrong. He's just playing physical. Nah, bruh. He is known for targeting guys. He is known for hurting guys. He's known for being reckless on the ice with guys. how do you justify keeping him in the league and then $5,000 fine? What? What does that do? What does it do, Big Dog? When you saw this, what did you think?
I mean, it was an absolute joke. This guy's been a repeat offender. He's been suspended multiple games, multiple times from many incidents and things that he's done. He's a reckless player. He really doesn't care about the opposition, who he's going after. And look, are there goons in hockey? Are there, is that a position that's still around and used on the roster, so to speak? It is. But there's a certain line that you just can't cross. And of course, hockey's physical. You gotta, go after a guy sometimes, but I mean, for what he did was no excuse. It was a face-off. The goalie stopped the puck. There was a stop in play. He took his two hands and cross-checked Buchnevich, I believe it was, in the head while his head was already down on the ice. That already is illegal. You're not supposed to be allowed to do that. Even if the guy, let's say, is in the corner or you're going to hit him, when you cross-check him in the neck, the head, that's a no-no. Big no in hockey. Then on top of that, the scrum ensues, and he, the look on his face, he just turned into a complete madman, he had no control over himself. He lost it, which is wrong. You got to compose yourself in that situation. You can't just go after a guy who's helmetless and body slam him on the ice. And because God forbid, Panarin could have got seriously hurt.
Right.
And you can't do that.
Right. And for a league that talks about player safety and how important it is.
That's the other thing, too. And I love Gary Bettman, and we've been complimenting the NHL a lot this past year on how they were able to bring the league back. But, I mean, Gary and the league have to be responsible for this and gotta wear this. It's a bad one.
They got it wrong. Plain and simple, they got this one wrong. And they got it wrong from the standpoint that you can't tell me, it's about player safety and we want to make sure the players are safe and concussion protocols and we're getting this new gear and we're doing all this.
And then today, Pavel Buchnevich, you saw, got suspended for a game for high sticking. Hold on one second.
Yeah. That's right there. That what he just brought out right there, folks, is a clear indication of you can't have a double standard, especially when Tom Wilson is a guy who is habitually known for going after players, for hurting players, for doing all these particular things. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to find Buchnevich suspend Buchnevich for high sticking. Okay? That is the epitome of hypocrisy because it comes down to this. Tom Wilson should be the poster boy for why the league needs to overthink its player safety protocols, its concussion protocols. All those things need to be brought out to the forefront, especially because you're talking about a player and you're talking about a situation in which these guys put their bodies on the line every night. And now you're going to tell me, it doesn't matter. It's a different situation. It's not really all that different. Because to be quite honest with you, sports nowadays, they're doing everything they can to avoid concussion protocol. They're doing everything they can to ensure the player's safety. Also, what example does this set for younger players who want to get into the sport, who decide, hey, I want to try and play hockey. I'm a 11, 12, 13-year-old young kid, and I want to get into playing hockey, and all of a sudden, I decide now I can't play hockey because player safety is not at the forefront of the league. How are we doing that? Now, Big Dog, I was just on a bit of a soliloquy before you stepped away briefly. This for a league that talks about all this stuff about player safety, making sure that the league is inclusive. Thank you, Stern, for the like. By the way, we appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You cannot tell me that it doesn't. This speaks of hypocrisy, and this also hurts the future generations who want to get into hockey, who say, you know what? Let me try and teach my son how to get into hockey. Let me buy him the skates. Let me buy him the gear. Let me buy him all this stuff. Let's get him started. How do you go about telling your son and daughter, hey, this is the way you play the game?
Right.
Tom Wilson sets a bad example for future generations of fans, future players, current players that are young in the league that are still trying to find their way of how to do things the right way. That's my opinion on it. And I know you agree.
Yes, he sets a very, very poor example of how to play the game.
And just sportsmanship. Bro, he's a hockey player just like you. He got a family to feed just like you. And you're just gonna like totally black out and forget all of that? That's terrible. That's terrible. And honestly, he should be fine for if the Capitals make the playoffs, which I believe they are. They're gonna make the playoffs, correct?
They clinched already, yeah. Yeah, so, they're tied for first place.
In my opinion, he should be fine for the rest of the play. You shouldn't be allowed to play in the playoffs if this is how you're gonna go about doing it. That is terrible.
I agree.
Anyway, moving on. By the way, the Rangers got some heart going after the director of the who they go after, the director of the plays, the
director, the guy who runs player safety. Yep.
Wow, in a statement too,
like a statement, then got fined for that.
$250K. I read, yeah. Woo! They setting fires all over Madison Square Garden. Player safety, the front office. Damn. God almighty. And meanwhile, and I like the way the league shot back. Like, hey, don't question our ethics. Take that $250K. I applaud the Rangers for trying, but damn. Speaking of hockey, since we're here, let's just stay on this train, if you will. The playoffs are getting closer. How many regular season games to the majority of the league left? I know everybody's
like 4 or 5 or 3, depending.
Wow. It feels like it's just started and it's already over.
Yeah, it went by fast this year. It really did.
Yeah, he gets sad about it. I can tell. Look at him. He's crushed, He's like, oh, you're over already? Why?
Yeah, but playoffs start. The Isles are in it, so
yeah.
Playoff hockey, just the best time of the sports year for me. Cannot wait for it.
Right. Who are the teams besides the Islanders? Let's just go around the league a little bit. Like, give me 2 Eastern Conference teams and 2 Western Conference teams. I know we always talk about Vegas, but outside of Vegas, give me another couple of teams that we should be watching out for as we head towards the playoffs, or at least the first round.
I mean, all the teams in the Eastern Division, of course, Colorado and Vegas.
What's up, bro?
What's up, Elijah? Who do I have in the Stanley Cup? I mean, I believe the Islanders are getting there, but I really do. But no, we got to see how it's set up because it may not be East versus West with the new format. Mm-hmm. So when the conference finals come, I'll give you my full prediction.
Right.
Because I feel like it's hard to make. If it was East and West, it'd be, easier.
Yeah.
Who do you have going all the way to the final or win it?
I like Boston.
They're friggin' on fire, man.
I like Boston, and I gotta tell you, in the West, I gotta tell you, I'm gonna shock you, but I like Minnesota.
Really? And you usually crap all over them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yay.
I had like a come that had like the epiphany moment that when the light turns on, ding. Yeah, Minnesota. I find them interesting. I don't know, man. Maybe, because everybody's going Vegas, so I want to be a little bit different and not go Vegas.
And not for nothing, Minnesota's 1 point back of Colorado for second place.
You see what I'm saying?
And only 5 points back of first.
You see what I'm saying? But they'll make me look foolish and get eliminated in the first round of the playoffs.
Could be a dark horse.
Could be. Although I like Colorado. I like Colorado a lot.
Yeah, I like Vegas in that division still more than Colorado.
I mean, but Vegas feels like the easy pick, though. Like, the easy pick is Vegas.
I don't know. Everyone picks Colorado. But
really?
A little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm shocked at that. So give me two teams in the Eastern Conference besides your beloved Islanders, because that's we all know that.
I'm gonna say
I like Boston, man. I like
Boston and Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I like Boston a lot. I think Boston. There's something about those veteran clubs that just you don't see them coming. They make tweaks at the beginning of the year. They get right middle of the year, and then they figure out how to beat you down the stretch. So I really do like Boston, and I hope that they can figure it out and they get hot. And it looks like Taylor Hall looked like the right move for them. He's been tearing it up in Boston.
Yeah, the acquisition of Taylor Hall has been big, really big for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, been scoring like crazy, been just involved in the play. You notice him now because even when he played on Buffalo, even though he was the star player, he never really did much or could do much because he wasn't surrounded by really any talent.
Mm-hmm. I feel like when you give a player like that some talented players, some open ice, letting him use his speed, letting him use his size, letting him use his quickness, you get to see what type of player you really have.
Absolutely.
I'm fascinated by that. Speaking of the playoffs, let me just go through these NBA playoffs real quick. I'm fascinated. I got to be honest with you. I'm fascinated by two things. One in the East, one in the West. I'm fascinated by the Celtics. Can they stay in the 6 hole? Do they fall to the 7th spot? If they got to make the play-in tournament, can Kemba play the back-to-backs? Are there going to be days off? What type of series are you going to get? Postseasons are you going to get from Jason Tatum, who dropped 60 the other night against the Spurs in a comeback where they were down by, I think it was 32, big dog, and they came back and beat the Spurs in Boston. Jason Tatum had 60 and was just like, yo, hold my beer. We're getting into the playoffs. Hold my Samuel Adams lager to be exact, because we're making it. I don't know. I'm fascinated by them, and to be quite honest, I'm fascinated with the Lakers because LeBron came back 1.5 games in. The ankle starting giving him trouble. He's going to take the next 2 games off to reassess where he is. If LeBron's not right, I don't know, Laker Nation. I don't know about a repeat, because that seems like it could spell doom if LeBron's not right. He says the ankle's not 100% and may never be 100% again, according to LeBron. But, I feel like it's all theatrical just to say if he wins another one, he did it on one leg and LeBron's the GOAT and oh my God. But we'll see what's up.
Yeah, they were comparing him and Brady on Get Up today. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me, right? Come on, that's a joke, right? Come on.
Obviously not. If they're comparing them.
But LeBron better than Brady? Come on.
Hey, that's a bit.
And
much.
I hate Brady, but come on,
that's a bit much. Honestly, I in the NBA. Let me point this out too, real quick. Like I watch guys like Luka Doncic, right? Luka Doncic is a great basketball player, right? He's a great basketball player. I would love to have him. But why is it that when we talk about players and we talk about how much of a disruption they could be, you remember Rasheed Wallace?
Yeah. He was on the Pistons, right?
The Pistons. He paid for the Blazers for a little while, right? We remember Rasheed Wallace as a guy who got technicals, who was a bit volatile, who had all these different ideas of, what he wanted to, how he played the game. But why wouldn't Luka acts up to the officials? And by the way, he's one technical foul away from being suspended for a game this late in the season with the Mavs on the fringe in the playoff race. The Mavs are 7th. If Luka gets one more technical foul, he's suspended. And the thing that I'm like is like, yo, why do we target guy? Why do we look at Rasheed Wallace like he was a problem child? But meanwhile, Luka gets 15 technicals and about to cost his team possibly a playoff berth. But nobody kills Luka Doncic for being a nozzle. You're being a nozzle. You're being an idol. Like you're being a dope. Like if you cost your team games, that's for being an idiot. That's your fault. What?
A little bit.
Oh, it's not the same. Why is it not the same? So it's okay for Luka Doncic to act like a jack. You know what? It's that's okay, right? I mean, come on, man. But the moment Draymond Green opens up his mouth to say "boo," we want to. Oh, Draymond's a problem. Draymond's an issue. Tee Draymond up. But it's okay for Luka Doncic to act a fool. What? Man, y'all better go ahead. You know how I finish that sentence usually. I ain't gonna say it, but y'all better go ahead with all that. Yeah, man. Listen. We can say and say how great Luka is of a basketball player, and he is great. But you costing your team games, and we don't. Nobody says boo, huh? What? Okay. But that's all well and good. Speaking of nobody saying boo and disruptions and all that, and people going crazy. What's going on? Across the other side of the world over there. We got owners being exiled, and the Glazers and the Cronkies and the sell the team. Stadiums being broken into, burglary. What's going on over here?
Yeah, a lot of what's that?
I said, good Lord.
Yeah, a lot going on in England, and particularly Manchester. And I hear that Tottenham has a protest planned next week. So teams are going to be protesting all across the country. Well, mainly the big, the teams who were going to join this, the Super League.
The Super League.
Right.
Which didn't even last 24 hours. What a great Super League you got.
And then the week after, Man U or Liverpool didn't even win. Or I think Real Madrid for that matter, but I digress.
The Super League.
To mediocre competition. But,
Well, because we want to be greedy, you know what?
So, thousands, at least, or at least hundreds of Manchester United supporters broke into, and they released a video of it. A fan broke down the door to Old Trafford. First of all, how they got over the gates, although it did look quite easy to just hop over. But still, how is there not more security present with especially everything that's been going on with the Super League and the Premier League, all the drama?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they just bum rushed the field. They went on the field. They started kicking the balls in the net. They were breaking broadcasting equipment. One guy took a big camera, chucked it, broke it. Yeah, it was insane. Fans also, a few days before that, broke into the Manchester United training facility and got on the field, like where the players, like they didn't interrupt, like when they were, well, they interrupted, but they didn't go on the field, but they were right there along the side, like protesting.
Wow.
And the coach, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who was a famous former Manchester United player, like came over to them, calmed them down, and just told, listen, if you don't want to get in trouble, like just please leave. Like, we understand why you're protesting, but this isn't the way to do it. And they left. And then there were former players too, like Gary Neville, who's part of Sky Sports. He was trying to talk them just to leave.
Yeah.
And it seems like maybe they've listened. Like these former players, they carry this aura and have, the fans love and respect them so much. Oh yeah, Eden. I'm gonna get into that too in a second because that was absolutely, oh my god. But yeah, so they broke into the stadium. They were throwing flares. They even threw flares and were throwing bottles up to the Sky Sports broadcast booth where they were doing their, well, they didn't. The game got postponed, but they were doing like pregame stuff.
Elijah, thank you for the comments, man. Give us
Thank
a like,
you, Elijah. And that's so wrong. It's just not. That's not the way you should protest. And it wasn't all Man U supporters. It was only some of them, but still, you can't be doing that kind of stuff. Breaking into a stadium, doing criminal things like that, breaking cameras and chucking flares at the broadcasters, which God forbid could hurt them badly, or beer bottles. I mean, and then outside of Old Trafford, which is the name of the stadium, there was hundreds of them. Then clashed with police. One policeman got hurt. He had stitches like from his like under his eye, all the way down his face with blood dripping. Yeah, it got really bad. They were throwing things at the police. Then the police, ugly scene. And then they went to the hotel where Man U was staying and stopped them basically from being let out. Their goal was to get the game postponed, and they did it. It was just unbelievable to see. Like, as a soccer fan, I've seen crazy things, but in documentaries and all that kind. But I mean, this type of protesting and everything, I've never seen it like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane. So the Liverpool Man U game will be rescheduled for next Thursday, May 13th.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, the Glazers actually were approached. One of them, I guess, was in Tampa by a Sky Sports anchor, and like they just walked to their car, didn't really want to say anything or talk about the situation. Not all of them, but there is a big part of that too, and a big culture, yes, that is hooliganism. And yeah, it
see, that sheds a bad light on the sport, though.
It does.
Now, and Stern, we're not saying that you're wrong for making that
no, because he is right. I'm just not. I'm saying not all of them, but there is a proportion of them that are
what I'm saying,
the culture of it there.
Yeah, and
especially in England.
That shines a negative light on the sport because it brings the connotation that Stern just pointed out. If we automatically assume that all we see is hooligans when they play these sports, and people are always, they're always inciting violence and fighting, and it's dangerous. After your team loses, you might get beat up for saying the wrong thing, or they might try to kill a player because he missed a kick. Like, that is why Stern makes that
yes
assessment. And I'm not saying that it's wrong or right, because I don't know, but it seems as though like these are the reasons why. Did you really need to hurt that policeman when he was just trying to do his job? Did you really need to take it that far? Did you need to break into a stadium? Did you need to do all that?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and especially in America, there's, of course, movies made about them, or, as I said, documentaries about hooliganism, and
it's almost like it's glorified.
Right, and it's shown how they call not gangs but firms, they're called. Each team has one, and they basically plan out with the other team's firm where to meet and where to beat the crap out of each other, pretty much, after the match. No matter what happens, they're gonna I shouldn't be laughing because it's not funny, but they meet up at a tube station or subway station or an alley or wherever and just beat the living daylights out of each other.
And I'm going to say this. And yes, I don't like when it's said about me when I'm watching sport, but you can do that over a game, bro. You gonna do that over a game that you ain't even playing in? Are we going that far? Did somebody disrespect your mother or your sister or your brother for you to get that aggressive? You going that hard for a team that don't even know you exist? Nah. See, now we about to take it somewhere. Big Dog, you hate when I do this, but I think this is the most this is appropriate. This is an appropriate statement. So you're willing to risk your freedom, go to jail for the rest of your life because you want to make a point because your team won or lost in a game that you didn't get no pay, you didn't affect the outcome. Yeah, you were a fan and you paid your way to get in or whatever the case may be, but you're willing to do all that and sacrifice your freedom for dudes that don't even know you, for players that could care whether you go to the game or not, because all you're doing is lining their pockets. And I know that turns sports fans off, but it's the truth. I hate when it happens in American sports too. Like the Giant fan that got beat up going to the Dodger game. Bruh, it's sports. I know we say, I hate this team and I hate that team, but Big Dog just showed some major big time and empathy for Panarin. Because at the end of the day, he's a human being.
100%.
Yeah, he doesn't
like I wouldn't be doing that to a Ranger random Ranger fan. Like if I left the Garden of the Coliseum and just beat the crap out. No, come on now.
It's.
You wouldn't do that to a random Red Sox fan, whether you won or lost. You're not just gonna go, come here, gonna beat the. No, come on now. It's insanity.
I get rooting. I get being a fan. I get having interest. I get all those things. But you know what? Why being this guy, we get along. We don't like the same teams. He hates my team. I hate his. We're all good. But when the chips are down and when sports is not involved and we get to real life, this is dude I want to go to. This is dude I want to I want to. Anything ever happens to each other or we ever need each other, we're there. Because it ain't like life is bigger than sports. It is. And I think this needs to be said because that's just disgusting.
Yes.
I agree.
Absolutely. And it's a shame that, like Stern pointed out, like there are a lot of fans that are cool and that are nice and, you know, but there is that side of it, that isn't great. And
Some of the
you
nice
know, the whole,
people I know are Met fans. They're Met fans. They hate the Yankees. They're Met fans. You're a sweetheart. You're a Met fan. You hate my team. When I go to City Field, I get as much love from Met fans and Met employees than I do from Yankee fans and Yankee employees. Not that all Yankee fans are bad, because you got some Yankee fans that are cool, that'll sit there and watch the game with you. They'll talk the game out with you. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily think it matters who you root for. I just want to talk about the fact that where's the common decency in people? So you literally got to plan out where to go beat somebody up because your team lost. Really? Really? And why do these teams not stop this? Like, if we see anybody starting something in the stands to get ready to fight, y'all all getting banned for life. All of yous. And I don't care if you got season passes. It's getting revoked. Get out of here. Nah, I'm out.
and it's crazy because I've been lucky enough to go to games.
Right.
Of course. Absolutely. And
Right.
when I went to England and Germany was the craziest thing. I went to a game and the away section was literally like fenced in from everybody else.
Crazy.
Like it was really weird to see. Like in the other stadiums, I never saw that. Of course, you have like your away fans in a certain section, but like in Germany, there was like they were like that they were protected and they were blocked by security and they were fenced in. God forbid anything would have happened to anybody.
That's that what? What do we do? Like, to quote the great Sebastian Maniscalco, what are you doing? What
And
do you do? What's wrong with you?
there is a beautiful part of soccer and the fandom and
Lord.
the feeling of that it's all they have. It's a religion and they care so much and they, it's passed down. Like here, like my grandpa was a Jet fan. My dad was a Jet fan. My uncle, so now I'm a Jet fan. It's like that there too, but it's on like a completely entire another level, which is shown in a good light, but is also a bad side of it too. Like, yes, we know you take it, you love it dearly and you really, but like that's just when you do that, when you go to incite violence, it's just completely crossing a line at that point. And there is just a completely different culture of American sports and European soccer, particularly in England. And to kind of get away from the violence just for a second.
No, I just had to make one. We can move on.
No. I mean, we could go back to it, but just to get into ownership, I mean, and they've been bringing, because the conversation has been, okay, what do they do? Like, because let's be honest, the Glazers, the Henrys, Kroenke, they're not going to sell their clubs. They, first of all, I mean, the money is astronomical from those 6 Premier League teams alone, worldwide.
Yeah.
And, and they were talking about this on Court Offside, and it was an interesting conversation because Andrew Gunling, of course, him and there's JJ Devaney, who's from Ireland. So when Gunling was, like he was trying to figure it out because, being an American who follows soccer, like, it's like, well, let me ask you, do you think I think they just don't see, these owners don't care. They look at them as a cash cow, basically. Um, and then from the fans' point of view, I think because Andrew Gunling was bringing up, maybe he's like, I'm not saying it could be an anti-American thing, but could it be? And he was proposing the question to his co-host. I don't. I mean, some Europeans do not like Americans. That is a thing. But I'm not saying all of them do. But I think it's more than that. I don't think that the American thing even has anything to do with it. I think they could be Australian, they could be Canadian, they could be even from another European country. But if they don't care and just look at that club as, oh, I'm going to make a lot of pounds or a lot of euros from this, I think if you're an owner, no matter where you're from, but particularly in this case, we'll talk, outside of Europe, let's say, or
Right.
we'll say maybe Canadian, American, or Australian.
Right.
I think they should definitely be in contact more with the fans, have more meetings with them, have like a forum where the fans can voice their displeasure or say, hey, you guys are doing this well, or we want this to change. Now, will it? I don't know, maybe not, but at least it's something where the fans can kind of be face to face or at least be able to speak to them in some form.
Right.
And also, too, I feel like if you're from outside of Europe, you should, like the US or whatever, you're going into a club. I think you should learn their history, learn the format of European soccer. They should learn just the culture of it. Go out in the community, ask them, like what this club means, or ask questions about the club's history or the stadium. I mean, it really seems like the Glazers don't care. And a lot of times they're compared to the Yankees. But then I thought, bro, a journalist was telling a story of how this year he was reporting, he was writing a story and, he was at Old Trafford. The roof was leaking because it was raining. I'm thinking, yeah, the Steinbrenners wouldn't let Yankee Stadium flood. At least I don't think so.
Holds down the building if one facade piece don't look right.
I mean, that's bad. Like, you're not even putting any effort into making your stadium compatible.
By the way, I got a story about that. So the Yankees in '98, they played a couple games at Shea Stadium against the Angels because there was a leak coming from one of the upper deck, and they felt like the upper deck was unsturdy and that it might have fallen if it got too bad.
Mm-hmm.
So the Yankees and the Angels were pulled from Yankee Stadium. They played, I think they played like 2 weeks at Shea Stadium when they got back from on their road trip. And George moved all the Yankee stuff in there. But I say that to say that George was like, nah, we got to get this thing. I don't want any of these players getting hurt on my watch because I'm being selfish. What the hell is that? It's craziness.
That is. Meanwhile, Liverpool they put extensions on their stadium, like put more seating in. They made the outside nicer. Yeah. Although one day I did, but I was like, really? No, I wore a jacket over it. I remember that. Yeah, because the neighborhood we were in was close to the Emirates where Arsenal play. Thank you for bringing that up, Elijah. And then yeah, we were going, it was on a tour of Wembley Stadium. And, I was wearing like Man U jersey and a track jacket. But I'm like, then I had like a lighter jacket and then I just put that over. Then when we got out of the neighborhood, I unzipped my coat and was like, all right. Like I was kind of nervous. I'm just saying. And then Elijah, I don't know if you remember, but there was a huge FA Cup game going on. And not that day, but I think a day or two before. And there were all people in Arsenal jerseys, and there was a big, soccer is just a big deal over there. It's crazy, but it could be dangerous. Yeah, but good thing I had the jacket, though.
People staring at us. Yeah, big dog, you causing riots overseas, bro.
Trying not to.
Yo, big dog is like, yo, you don't want to smoke over here, fam.
Although I do have like intention of doing that. I mean, whenever I'm in Manhattan, I gotta wear Islander stuff just to,
Look at this.
I just gotta rep and range of territory.
Yeah, remind me to not go anywhere with you, because good Lord.
I mean, no one ever beat me up, although I have gotten yelled at before in the street. It's all right. Wear my gear proudly,
No.
Gotta support the team.
I guess. Anyway, what do you got? You got anything else?
The Champions League final is set. It will be an all-English final again. Chelsea versus Man City this time. And Christian Pulisic will be the first American player ever to play in, a Champions League final. So that's a huge deal. I'm happy for him. So it should be an interesting final. They actually play in the league, in the Premier League this weekend too, which should be intriguing.
Sounds intriguing.
We'll see. Yeah. Islanders got to win these next 3, bro. We got to do it.
Oh, you guys are nuts. Oh, God. But I can't say nothing because you catch me at Fenway with a fresh Yankee hat on.
Yeah, that would.
Big Al, what's up, bro?
What's up? Philly, I don't know about, but Boston, I might do it.
Nah, they put cheese whiz all over people's gear. I'm good.
Yeah, Philly, I ain't doing that. I won't wear Mets or, I mean, even they might still throw something at me. I don't know.
No, people are grimy. People are grimy, bro. People are grimy. Man, this was fun. Now, I Monday was, I was a little under the weather, so I apologize for that. But we'll be back this Monday, upcoming Monday, with our regularly scheduled episode, but we might have a special wrinkle in there on something that me and this guy have been talking about for the last couple of days. I don't want to give anything away, so hopefully when we get everything squared up, we'll give you guys more information. Anyway, guys, hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube and Facebook. Periscope, we're having an issue with. Alan made me aware of that today. Periscope is now actually no longer in existence, so we're gonna have to figure out a third medium for you guys because Twitter is no longer serviceable at this point. But thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends and family that like sports. By the way, go pick yourself up a Nick and Steph mask. I'm gonna start modeling those in the next couple of weeks. And everybody stay safe, be well, and we'll see you guys on Monday.
Have a good weekend.